Okay, so to help contextualize this next video, I'll need to give you a little bit of background on me. For about a decade, I stopped collecting Transformers. For years, the most recent figures I had were Alternators, Hound, and Ravage. Disgusting, I know. Then 5 or 6 years back, when working on a project for college, I started running videos in the background to pass the time. One of the channels I started putting on in the background was Vangelis, which later led to Jobby and Few. Now, none of that motivated me to get back into collecting, but about 4 years ago, there was this thought that crossed my mind. I remember getting Black Arachnia as a kid. I remember it vividly. I remember counting out my change and trading pennies with my brother, because if we both had $10, our mom would take us to Toys R Us. I remember that I got it because there were no other figures of characters from the show I didn't have yet, despite the fact that at the time, I didn't like her. I remember sitting in the car when my mom stopped at the bank with a toy in my lap, ripping open the blister card just slightly because I wasn't allowed to open it until we got home, but I needed to do something to get closer to the toy. But most importantly of all, I remember it looking like Black Arachnia. But 4 years ago, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, knowing what I know now, there's no way it looked like her. There's no way. Back then, she wouldn't even have been a retool. She would have just been a redeco, a flat-out repaint of Tarantulas' figure. But I remember it looking like Black Arachnia. So I looked it up, and sure enough, my memories were wrong. She did not look like she was supposed to. But here or there, I kept seeing this thing. What is it? It looks like her, but it has hands. That's way cooler. But what is it? I've never heard anyone talk about this before. What is, oh my god! And then I found out about the Takara Black Arachnia figure. And I was sitting there, and I just kind of came to the conclusion that I should correct the injustice of having never had a good representation of her like I had with basically all the other characters of the show. And now that I was past my girls are smelly face, I did really like the character. Paid more than I should have, and then a few months later I bought the Generations Waspinator. At the moment I first held both of them in my hands, I did the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Senpai. Senpai, love me. Senpai. Senpai, love me!
No! You're too beautiful. I'm hideous.
Senpai, love me. Senpai. Senpai, love me.
No! I am unworthy.
Senpai, love me. Senpai. Senpai, love me! And I had a blast doing it. And none of that was relevant, but I wanted to tell that story. Anyways, that wasn't enough to get me back into collecting, but I showed my brother Jobby the Hong's videos because they were funny, and for my birthday that year, he bought me a Masterpiece Soundwave after having seen it on that show. Side note, I have the best little brother, and that Soundwave has been the crown jewel of my collection since the moment I got it. And that Soundwave lit a fire under my ass. Basically, my entire collection has been me attempting to recapture the high of Masterpiece Soundwave. And let me tell you, there is very little that's done it. Anyways, when I finally went to buy new Transformers toys, I found we were knee-deep into Headmasters, and I hate part swarming, and I hate Headmasters because they are one and the same. I actually still remember my response to the Rebirth. Pure revulsion and hatred. So I kind of refused to buy them. I kept seeing Blitzwing in stores, and I kept almost buying him, but the fact that his face was purple would turn me off it. Then one night, I'm on break from work, and I'm watching Few's video on Titans Return Megatron, and I decide that the figure looks good enough to get. So I go in to pick it up, and it's sold out. But Broadside was right there, and I remember how much the character sucked. And I thought it'd be funny to buy the sad sack. And, I mean, spoiler alert for his figure, but he fucking sucks. But that just kind of fed into the lore that he was useless and just endeared him more to me. And that was kind of it. I was buying Titans Return now. And I gotta say, even though I truly believe the Headmaster gimmick sucks and that all these figures could have been made exactly the same without it, this line was actually kind of great. I can't talk about as many of the figures from this line as I normally would, as I've had no real interaction with most of them, so I'm just going to be skipping big swaths of the figures I don't have anything for. Titan Masters. Okay, so I really don't have many of these. I got Shuffler to go with Quake because I wanted a Genericon to help fill out the Decepticon ranks, considering it's very easy to outnumber them with all the Autobots that get released. And come on, don't try and tell me that that's an Autobot's face. And I got Terrible, because I noticed that Toys R Us had a Chaos on Velocitron set that had been returned with a slew of wrong figures, and when I brought it to their attention, they were just going to throw it away, but they let me take the Headmasters that were in the box. So I grabbed Terrible and a Brawn that I gave to a friend. Legends. I have Cosmos and Sea Spray. Cosmos is okay. I don't like the curved arms or the Hulk hands though. And Sea Spray is the Masterpiece Bumblebee figure. No, really, it's the exact same figure. Feet fold out, sides fold around the feet, waist hinges forward, arms drop down to the sides. His Headmaster integration is easily the worst of all time though. It's just a flap covering a hole that you can pop off and then seal the Headmaster into. Deluxes. I must have come back in the very last seconds of Titans Return because I never saw most of these in stores ever. Blur. I bought Blur on eBay. The guy selling it had it on buy it now for $10 or make me an offer, meaning they would have taken it for less than 10. I figured the guy must have been on hard times to be willing to do that, so I offered 13. Not a huge amount more, I know, but I was broke at the time too. Decent figure, doesn't quite capture the character, and he's very monochromatic. Scourge. Friend of mine didn't like this one, so he traded. He gave me this and I gave him 6-shot. I contend that I came out better than he did. Far from the worst shell former ever, but his head crest was busted by the time I ever got him. Same friend gave me Highbrow earlier this year because he didn't like it. I can see why. His transformation is stupid easy, and his nose cone really should have done more than just nothing at all during the transformation. I was too late in the line to ever see Hardhead, Skullmasher, Chrome Dome, Mindwipe, Wolfwire, and Breakaway in stores. Based on Quake, Hardhead would have been good. Skullmasher would have been okay, going by Croc, but I got no idea how Chrome Dome and Breakaway would have turned out, though I did try and find Breakaway at Walgreens. I hear the consensus on Mindwipe seems that he is very flawed, and Wolfwire seems like he'd have been bad, with an insultingly easy transformation and just a minor piece of part swarming. Hot Rod. All the joints are loose as hell, he's got some gorilla arms, and I don't know if he looks better or worse with the stomach flap, but his legs transform in a cool way, and he makes for a pretty fun figure. Trigger happy. This is the figure. This is the one. I don't know why these were still still on shelves when Power of the Primes came out, because this is the best figure in the line. No one is better. This is the best one. This is the one that took me from being begrudgingly willing to buy Titans Return figures to excited to buy them. I poached 6 shots guns from him before I gave him away. I think Trigger Happy needed more. What can I say about this figure? Looks great in both modes, love the Galaga ship, but that transformation is crazy fun. He's got it all. Fast, fun, and looks fantastic while doing it. Twinferno. I bought this guy at the same time as Trigger Happy on the assumption that he'd suck and I could make fun of it. Ultimately, he's not terrible. Transformation's okay. Part of it's fine. Part of it blows. And I'm still not sure how his legs work. I just go at them until they do. Topspin was given to me for my birthday last year. He's okay. I hate his bloated proportions, and Vangelist said his transformation was incredible. I fiercely disagree. It's good, but not half as good as Trigger Happy's. Perceptor. Never saw this one in stores. I hear he's cool, but after seeing Will Wheaton's performance in the show, I just wanted nothing to do with this character. Cup. This figure kicks ass. While Trigger Happy had a crazy transformation, this one's transformation is almost more so, and it has inspired several figures to come after. The way the legs work are a revelation. It was shocking the first time I did it. Posability is, silly though. Croc. I bought Croc entirely to do this. Headmaster on him is awful. Looks nothing like the character. Also, boy, I hate this back hinge. Figure's fine. Absolutely nothing to write home about the transformation. It's the most boring and predictable version of a beast transformation you could possibly get. Quake. Pretty cool. He's just a retool of the Hardhead figure, but his transformation is a little weird. And he does make a great Genericon like I wanted. His crotch plate is goddamn annoying if you don't have fingernails, though. See, I don't know when I started collecting these damn things because I would find Slugslinger on the shelves next to Twinfernos, but I never saw a Windblade or a Twin Twist, or a Perceptor, or a Topspin, or a million other figures. I wanted a Misfire real bad, but I could just never find one. Nor could I justify spending $80 on eBay for one. Twin Twist. The same as Topspin, but with a dumber alt mode and an uglier head. 1. Slugslinger is not a name that fits this guy's face. 2. His transformation sucks, and I've damaged it by forgetting a step more than once. And 3. It looks way better in alt mode like this. Voyagers. Let's go with joint reviews for Megatron and Blitzwing, Optimus, and Octane. The only differences are the heads they come with and their colors. Starting off with Mega Wing, Blitzatron, Mega Blitz, Wingtron. This is a great figure. Makes a great tank and a better jet, has a fun transformation that the Seeker should be ripping off, and it's amazing how well it pulls it all off. I fan mode the tank mode though, because if you transform it the way it's supposed to be, the tank ends up really gappy at the front. So I leave the toes out to fill in the front of the tank. It's far from perfect, but it helps. I ended up buying Blitzwing on eBay because I never did see another one in the wild after I let that one slip through my fingers. Optimus Prime. This one's not so good, though the difference between the two is more substantial than the previous figures. The wings are hard to remember the process for during transformation, and it's a bitch to get everything in the correct orientation so they tab in properly. You can flip Prime's shoulders down for a better, more G1 accurate look. Oh, this turd. Broadside sucks. He's got one alt mode that's just him laying on his face with a plank across his back, and his other mode is just the shittiest, most worthless official alt mode I've ever seen. I fan mode this so his legs go under him, turning him into something like a seaplane. Looks better than this garbage. All the other Voyagers I never saw in stores. Galvatron is famously ruined by his gimmick. Alpha Trion is weird, but maybe good. Astrotrain is nothing like I would want, but Sentinel Prime looks kinda interesting. I had the option to get the re-release of Soundwave at Target, but I couldn't afford him at the time. And plus, this was never going to compete with the Masterpiece Soundwave. 6-shot. I do not have this one anymore. I gave it to a friend, but I remember it. So let's go. This mode sucks. This mode, it sucks. Now this mode here sucks. This mode, sucks? What is the use of a wolf mode? Really, like seriously, when you can turn into a jet or a tank, what is the value of a wolf mode? This mode's okay, this one's fine. No joke, I had to look up a video of how to transform this figure because I could not believe that all of his modes sucked this bad. I thought I had to be doing something wrong. Never saw any of the others, but had I seen Overlord, that would have been a hard pass from me. Yeah, I wasn't going to buy Fortress Maximus, mainly because Japanese Transformers suck. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. Anyways, I know, you know what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think might be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.